Welcome to the Michigan Football Report Rumors Roundup, Rapid Fire Edition. We've got a bunch of stuff to get into. We are going to start off the top with Kareem Walker. We reported last week he's been in some trouble. Can he earn his way back on the team? Folks, we're going to give this one 3 Harbaugh heads. Let me tell you what we know. Kareem Walker got into some trouble around Michigan's bowl practice time. He was sent home, but there were some extenuating circumstances around that. His grandmother, who raised him, was very ill, caused him to get into some trouble. Michigan coaches are sympathetic to that, and she ultimately passed away here in the past few days. He had to go home back to New Jersey for that reason. So although we're sticking to our story that he is not currently a good standing member of the Michigan football team, he will have the opportunity to earn his way on through great performance in the classroom, staying out of trouble off the field, and working his butt off in training all the way up through spring camp into next season. So 3 Harbaugh heads on that one. All right, on to number 2. Is Chris Partridge staying at Michigan? Well, folks, this is a 4 Harbaugh heads. Chris Partridge, Michigan's linebackers coach, is being wooed by a bunch of different programs. One we'll talk about here in a moment. Also is a potential defensive coordinator candidate at the University of Arizona, should they have hired Jed Fish. But he is sticking with Michigan. It's 4 Harbaugh heads. It's FACK. Michigan hasn't officially announced it just yet, but pretty much everybody out there who covers Michigan football on a daily basis has reported that this is happening. So Chris Partridge will be with Michigan for the foreseeable future. All right, on to number 3. Rivals.com reporting that Jim Harbaugh may need hip replacement surgery. I'm giving this a 1 Harbaugh head. There's a shred of truth because that's been a publication that's been around for a long time, and they usually don't throw things out there without some solid sourcing on that. Surprised they went with this one. They're the only ones still going with it. But I want to read the quote from an article out by Rivals.com's Chris Ballas over the weekend. He says, "People have wondered if Jim Harbaugh has lost his edge. Some people point to his hip problems that are holding him back, and it's clear he was struggling with it a bit this season. Some close to him say he was getting different forms of treatment for it all year, while others recommend a hip replacement surgery if necessary." He says he'll probably stick to physical therapy, see if he can kind of, avoid surgery and not have and stick with physical therapy. But keep an eye out for this developing story from Rivals.com. We're giving it a 1 Harbaugh head right now, which means we don't believe it too much just yet. But what does a 1 Harbaugh head mean? Let me tell you right now. It's the Rumorometer from Chat Sports. 0 Harbaugh heads means it's totally false, fake news. 1 Harbaugh head, there's a small shred of truth. Somebody's putting it out there that we could see being accurate, but right now there's not enough room out there, or not enough news out there for us to believe it. 2 Harbaugh heads, people are talking, some are saying it's true, some saying it's not. It's about 50-50 that it could happen at this point. If we give it a 3 Harbaugh heads, folks, that means it's pretty likely. It's about 75%. It's trending in that direction. 3 Harbaugh heads means we've talked to somebody, we believe somebody reporting it is reputable and has a strong source on it. If we give you the FACK fact 4 Harbaugh heads, folks, that means it is a guarantee. This is going to happen. We're putting our word on it. Jim Harbaugh spells it FACK. We spell it FACK here at Chat Sports. All right, we got 15 rumors for you. We've been through 3, so we've got 12 more. All right, let's talk some more about Chris Partridge. Did he turn down an opportunity to be Nick Saban's right-hand man at Alabama? Well, it's been put out there, most notably former Rivals writer Brandon Justice put this out just in the past day or so, that Alabama's offer included an associate head coach role. So we're giving that 2 Harbaugh heads because Justice does have some sources, but I don't think this is is very likely or that he has enough information to give it 3 Harbaugh heads. But it means it's pretty interesting that Jim Harbaugh had to put on a heck of a recruiting job to keep Partridge from heading down to Alabama to be an associate head coach. For those of you who don't know what that means, that's essentially like the head coach not really the head coach in waiting, but the number 2 at any program. So interesting that he stayed with Michigan. Big opportunity for him at Alabama if that story was true, but we're giving it 2 Harbaugh heads. All right, on to number 5. Are there more coaching changes coming after signing day on February 7th? Well, we think this one is 50-50. It's pretty likely at this point. We're giving it 2 Harbaugh heads on this one. That people are talking. We don't have anything. I wouldn't say it's pretty likely. We don't have any concrete this is going to happen, but I do believe if anyone, most notably Pep Hamilton, moves on to the NFL, which we've reported multiple weeks in a row that he's got NFL job offers, it won't happen until after February 7th recruiting signing day in order to keep the recruits that Michigan is currently pursuing in the class and have an opportunity to sign them without them getting scared away by their lead recruiter, most notably Pep Hamilton, as I said, potentially leaving the program. So keep an eye out for some coaching changes, maybe just one guy after February 7th. All right, on to number 6. Defensive line coach Greg Madison is in Germany. Well, this is a for Harbaugh head, folks. F-A-C-K. Greg Madison is in Germany. Now, he is with a Michigan recruit who is from Germany. That's why he's over there. He's not taking any sort of vacation or anything by any means. So he is over there visiting Julius Welchoff, who is the guy who is an alpine skier, said to be super athletic, said to be able to do a backflip, full toe touch, bend over, all kinds of athletic abilities that most defensive linemen don't have because he didn't grow up playing football, was more of a gymnast and a skier. But he is over there on the official coach's visit. Madison looks like he's having some fun there in the snow. Maybe he's getting a little bit of skiing there over in Germany. All right. My name is James Yoder, folks. I am the Michigan Football Insider. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at James T. Yoder. We are coming at you with a bunch more rumors. But before we do so, I want to know from everyone here, do you think that the Michigan football assistant coaches are overpaid? And the reason for this question is, as of right now, Michigan has 3 of the top 9 highest paid assistant coaches in college football. And we've got Tim Drevno, who is, for most people's perspective, been kind of a failure, especially in the last season, 2017, where Michigan struggled on the offensive line, his specialty, and was woefully inefficient at quarterback. Pep Hamilton, the kind of quarterback guru that Jim Harbaugh recruited from the NFL to come to Michigan to help their quarterback situation. Well, quarterbacks weren't very good, wide receivers weren't very good, but he is the 9th highest paid coach in all of college football. And then there's Don Brown, of course, who is very highly paid, but also, I think, very worth it. Outside of those 3 main guys, you've got Chris Partridge, who's got a big raise, a bunch of other coaches getting big raises. Michigan is the 2nd highest pool for assistant coaches in all of college football, behind Alabama. Are they getting it done in the field? I want to know from you. Give it a like if it's yes, a heart if it is no. On to rumor number 7. Otis Reese, Michigan's star 2018 recruit. Is he sticking with Michigan? Well, we're going with the 3 Harbaugh heads. It was widely reported over the weekend by a lot of the recruiting gurus that he took a visit to Central Michigan this week. Yes, a highly rated 4-star linebacker from Georgia took an official visit to Central Michigan. Why? His brother's a football player, half-brother's a football player there on the CMU staff. Also, a new Michigan coach, who we'll talk about here in a second, was the assistant coach there who recruited him from Georgia to Central Michigan. Now that coach is on Michigan staff. So some familiarity. We've been told from multiple sources that it seems like he is going to stick with Michigan, sign with the program in about 3 weeks. This is a big deal, folks, because he's been committed to Michigan for over 18 months. He is an instant impact guy. Keep an eye out for Otis Reese to stick with Michigan. On to number 9. All right. Is Michigan recruiting? I'm sorry, number 8. Is Michigan recruiting a offensive tackle from Rice to be a grad transfer? Well, this is a for Harbaugh heads because it is FACK that they are definitely heavily recruiting him. Michigan's head coach Jim Harbaugh, offensive line assistant and offensive coordinator Tim Drevno, and their new coach Sharon Moore were in his home yesterday in Houston at his off-campus apartment at Rice, where he will graduate very soon from. I believe it's not until this spring. Also, Harbaugh and Drevno drove last night from Houston to Austin, Texas to meet with the players' parents to convince him that Michigan is the best place to prepare him for the NFL in the 2019 NFL Draft, which is the reason he's leaving Rice after 4 years, 3-year starter, and seeking greener pastures. Schools he's looking at other than Michigan are Pitt, Texas, and TCU. So 4 schools that all could do a big deal with him in his future playing career. Michigan's one of them. We'll see what happens, though. All right, now we're on to number 9. Did Tyler Friday, the highly rated 4-star recruit from New Jersey, delay a commitment to Ohio State? Well, yeah, folks, that's a 3 Harbaugh head here. So the reason for this one is Chris Partridge, a former rival head coach in the state of New Jersey, was his lead recruiter to come to Michigan when rumors were out there that Partridge was going to go and take the Alabama job or potentially the Arizona defensive coordinator job. Then, Friday started looking at Ohio State pretty heavily. It was almost a fact that he was going to commit to Ohio State in the past few days, but with Partridge remaining at Michigan, Friday is going to give Michigan another look. I'm calling this one 50-50 between, 33-33 between Michigan, Ohio State, and potentially even Notre Dame. So we'll see what happens with Friday. He probably won't commit now until signing day on February 7th. All right, bringing it back on screen. Is Shay Patterson going to be eligible? That's the biggest question of this offseason. And if he is, will Michigan make the playoff in 2018? Will Shay Patterson be a big enough impact player for Michigan to make the playoff in 2018? So if you think yes, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If it's no, Michigan won't make the playoff, give it an angry face. Want to think about this just a little bit. Michigan will have 8 returning starters on offense in 2018. The only positions that aren't coming back as starters are both the right and left offensive tackle, so 2 of the offensive linemen, and then of course the quarterback position. So Shay Patterson kind of steps in there as a quarterback that is proven, would have been the highest passing quarterback in SEC history had he kept those stats up in 2017 and not got hurt. Michigan returning 9 of 11 starters on defense, all 4 kickoff, punt returner, kicker, and punter coming back. So tons of talent coming back from Michigan. Very close in 4 of their 5 losses this season. The only loss that they were out of it was that Penn State one. So go ahead and let us know. React with a yes with a thumbs up, or an angry face if it is no, Michigan's not going to make the playoff for the 4th straight year under Jim Harbaugh. On to rumor number 10. Is Tim Drevno on the road recruiting? Well, yeah, it's a 4 Harbaugh head because Matt Dudak, Michigan's recruiting coordinator, was tweeting out that he was with Drevno on the West Coast. That's a 4 Harbaugh head that he's on there. So they went on the West Coast to visit Shay Patterson, an offensive lineman from Southern California, former Arizona State commit, who wasn't really buying what their new coach was selling when he got there at Arizona State, Herm Edwards. So this player is now down to Michigan or UCLA, and Drevno went out there as the offensive line coach. He's an offensive tackle prospect, a very highly recruited 4-star player. Went out there and basically put the full court press on him. Then from there, Southern California, he went to Houston, met up with Jim Harbaugh to put the full court press on that Rice offensive tackle that we talked about, and now is heading back east to do some more recruiting. So it looks like, from what I am seeing, Tim Drevno recruiting very hard, telling players he's going to be there in the future, that in some capacity, Tim Drevno will be on Michigan's coaching staff in 2018. All right, on to number 11 in the Michigan Football Rumors Roundup Rapid Edition. Is Dan Enos, who's just hired by Michigan last week to be their wide receivers coach, potentially offensive coordinator? Is he a candidate for Bama's offensive coordinator job? Well, maybe as someone who has thought about it could potentially get the job if everyone else says no. But right now, there's only one publication saying this, so we're going to give it a 1 Harbaugh head. That this is a shred of truth, because 24/7 Sports put him on their very short list of about 5-6 guys that could be candidates for the Alabama offensive coordinator position after their coordinator, after 1 year of being there, is now back onto the NFL, taking the offensive coordinator role with the Buffalo Bills. So Enos and Saban have a long history. I want to kind of go back and talk about this. So not only did Enos work at Michigan State under Mark D'Antonio, who's a Saban disciple, so they have that connection there, but Enos was a player at Michigan State back in the 80s when Saban was an assistant coach on that staff. So they have known each other for over 30 years. Some familiarity in the SEC West, as Enos just got off a 3-year stint as Arkansas's offensive coordinator. So while I don't think it's very likely, I think there's a shred of truth that they probably jumped on a phone call, probably had some semblance of a conversation. I don't think he's going to end up there and kind of leave Michigan jilted after only a week on the job, but one to keep an eye on. If more people start saying it's happening, maybe we'll bump it up to 2 or 3 Harbaugh heads, but as of right now, we're just calling it a 1 Harbaugh head. There's some truth to it, but not enough to make a big deal about it. All right. Did Michigan kind of slow play and not really recruit the best player in 2019 in the state of Michigan? Well, yeah, I mean, we're giving it a 4 Harbaugh head, I'm sorry, because this is really weird. This guy is the best player in 2019 in the state of Michigan. He is, what I've been told, is a phenomenal athlete, could play cornerback and wide receiver at the college level, yet Michigan waited until just in the past week or so to offer this guy after he committed to Michigan State kind of over the Christmas break time frame. So this is a big blow. If you look at the recruiting rankings for 2019, Michigan has 0 players in the top 10 in the state of Michigan for the 2019, the current junior players. Michigan State already has 4 of the top 10. Now, Michigan has a pretty good class so far, but it has all been out-of-state guys, players from Georgia, players from Florida, and other states. So if Michigan's going to dominate in-state, they better get these offers out a lot earlier than 2 weeks after the guy commits to your rival in-state school. So that's FACK. They waited on this guy. They dropped the ball, and they're probably not going to get him, but there's a long time until 2019 signing day. Anything can happen between now and then. All right, 3 more to go. We're rolling through them. Is Grant Newsome set to return in 2018? Well, it's a 2 Harbaugh head people are talking. And who are those people? Well, it's Newsome himself. He talked to the Detroit Free Press just today. Want to read his exact quote here because it's pretty interesting to say the least. He said, doctors said once in the past that his leg was dying. Doctors also told him there was a 50-50 chance he may never walk again. Now they're saying there's a 50-50 chance he could play again, and he's so confident. He's telling us that spring is the realistic goal. He thought about coming back for the bowl game and practicing, but that would have been ambitious, he says. Very ambitious, he added after the first ambitious. So he's talking about it. It's in the Detroit Free Press today. He's making a jump to play Michigan football again this spring. He'd have one more year of eligibility after being injured in the 2016 season. Remember, folks, he was a starter. So if he can come back at full health, that is a huge boost to the depth of the Michigan offensive line in 2018. So keep an eye on that one. People are talking. All right, on to number 14. Hey, NFL football, there's no more college games. Two amazing games on this weekend. We've got the Jags and the Patriots in Foxborough. Then on the other side of it, we got the Vikings heading to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. We've got 8 Michigan players playing this weekend in the AFC and NFC Conference Championship game. So that's a 4 Harbaugh heads on that one. So want to read the players off. The Patriots have Tom Brady, Alan Branch, and David Harris, the latter recent players in that great 2006 Michigan defense. The Jaguars have Chad Henne, Patrick Omame, a guy, offensive lineman under Rich Rod that people probably don't really remember, and then Jared Wilson, a recent safety at Michigan under Brady Hoke. Eagles have Michigan great Brandon Graham, who played most of his career, or all of his career, under Rich Rodriguez. And then the Vikings have a surprising NFL player in Ben Getty, and a guy that not a lot of people thought would have an NFL career, has stuck with the Vikings, played really great this year. So if you have no rooting interest in those 4 teams, pick the best player out of those 8 that you followed most at Michigan and go ahead and root for them to see him get a Super Bowl appearance in Minnesota 3 weeks from now. All right, last one, rounding out 15 rumors is, do we have a new tight ends coach at the University of Michigan? Well, that is a green check mark, folks. That means we said it was a fact. This is a 4 Harbaugh or 3 Harbaugh head in the past, and Michigan has officially announced it. There is no guess game at this time. He is your new tight ends coach, already on the road recruiting. Was in Houston yesterday with Jim Harbaugh, and Tim Drevno is out recruiting for the next 2 weeks. That is why they brought him on. Very young guy, only 32 years old. Played football at Oklahoma 10 years ago. That's how young this guy is. Came over from Central Michigan, where he had a relationship with Dan Enos, also a relationship with Otis Reese, Michigan star recruit, and his older half-brother, who he recruited to Central Michigan. So big pickup for Michigan. Not a ton of coaching experience. That's kind of why they put him at the tight end role, where Jim Harbaugh is a great coach of in his own right, but a rabid recruiter. So keep an eye out for his recruiting wins over the next few years. All right, that is all of the rumors we have for you today. There's a ton of them. 15 rumors in the Michigan Football Report Rumors Roundup. My name is James T. Yoder, the Michigan Football Insider. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. This show is also available on podcasts for iTunes or in the podcast app on your iPhone. Just search Michigan Football Report. You can watch it on demand anytime. Also, we're on YouTube. Go to YouTube, just search Michigan Football Report, search Michigan Football Rumors. We'll show up there if that's a better search term you want to go find. But a ton of people watching our YouTube stuff, a lot of comments. Keep them flowing if you're watching this on YouTube right now. We'll be back with Lena Bond on Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We're going to break down the 2018 Michigan football depth chart, tell you who's going to be the starters for next season. Also, take a look at some more rumors that are kind of formulating as we speak. With that, I am James T. Yoder. We will see you Friday. Thanks a lot.